Master Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. At the moment, it's a beautiful Tuesday in Nashville, Tennessee. 2 hours ago, it was pouring. So go figure. It says it's summer, sort of. Doesn't feel like it. A lot of rain. Anyway.
Have we ever had this much rain?
I don't think so. I don't ever remember this much. Now, they're talking about more of this tomorrow. And then after that, a lengthy period where supposedly we don't get any rain for about a week.
It's supposed to be good this weekend.
It is. Yeah. But we'll see up into the low 90s. Let's go to Murfreesboro and begin by saying hello to former NFL quarterback Kelly Holcomb.
George, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, we don't need it to rain this weekend. My daughter's wedding is this weekend, so.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Preparations are underway. Your role is what?
Write checks.
Write checks. Okay.
Yes.
Have you been told to otherwise stay out of the way?
Pretty much, yeah. But I am. She asked me to speak at the wedding, and my son the other day told his mom, "Mom, I just wanted to have a stress-free wedding, like it's his wedding," because they're scared to death of what old dad is going to say.
Has Dad prepared anything, or perhaps he's going to wing?
I prepared it in my mind, but I've told Jalen. Jalen told me the other day. She said, "Dad, can you write stuff down?" I said, "No, I'm not writing stuff down." I said, "I'm as interested to hear what I'm going to say as you'll be."
That's a worry.
It is a worry.
A year ago, at a Kutrus wedding, I was the MC that brought out the wedding party after it was over. And we get to the third group, and it's Timothy Kutrus escorting his sister such and such. And Timothy comes out and does this dance. And there was a orchestra, a band playing. And I said, "Whoa, hold on a second." Now it's quiet. "Timothy, what the hell was that?" And Timothy goes, "Oh, there's more where that came from." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I don't doubt it." So be very careful this weekend. You can get yourself in a lot of trouble.
Well, I'm going to try, man. I told him I'll be good, though. I'll be fine. But yeah, I have it all in my head what I'm going to say, but I don't write it down.
Right. I'm not sure they believe that.
They probably don't. They're really worried because Dad has a tendency of what is in his brain comes out his mouth, as you guys have found out the last 2 years.
Yes, we have. William, how are you today? Billy Derrick, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm good.
Mm-hmm. Your daddy's coming on in a few minutes. You sent him a resume lately?
No, still working on it. I'm getting it all finished up and
is that so?
Yeah. The finishing touches.
Really? Did you buy them dinner one night or no? They just cooked for you?
No.
Is that what happened?
No, they didn't cook for me. They got some pizza for me. That was it.
Oh,
you didn't even write a thank you note. For God's sakes.
You could at least take them out somewhere, dude. Like splurge a little bit.
They would have turned it down.
You think so?
No, you have to try a little bit. I'd like to take you to dinner.
Tony,
you don't do it with your arms like this in an alligator arm kind of deal.
Tony wants me to come up this summer. Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure when his wife saw what Billy drove up in, she said, "Honey, we can't do that to
him." "Honey, can we get him a car deal?" At which point Billy said,
"Yes,
I'll move to Knoxville."
Yeah.
We need to maybe give this young guy, get him started on a GoFundMe page so we can get something rolling with the 1979 Camry.
Wow. Billy, do you have an update with any level of substance to it?
We've got a lot to it today.
Really? Is that so?
Yep. Then
Yeah.
it's brought to you by X Golf. Step into the future of golf with X Golf. Experience the most accurate golf simulator in the world and elevate your game like never before. Book your tee time now at playxgolf.com. Go check out their brand new location at 209 South Royal Oaks in Franklin. All right. We're starting with a little Diego Pavia in the news today. He appeared on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast with Taylor Lewan and Will Compton today and had a lot to say. But something that stood out to me, he was asked about the rivalry with Tennessee and if there's any motivation there, obviously, to beat him this year. But he had a lot to say on the future of Vanderbilt football. Take a listen.
Vanderbilt's going to run Tennessee after this year. Like, this is going to be the new staple of, like, college football is going to happen here at Vanderbilt.
Do any of you and the boys ever, like, talk about that? Like, we got to be the state school.
Well,
we're in Nashville,
this
Tennessee.
is,
like, we're in the Music City. Like, we need to be the brand of Tennessee.
Everyone wants to come to Tennessee because of Nashville. So they want to come to Nashville, so Vanderbilt. And then when we have, like, the most money in NIL, like, why not come here? So, like, we literally just have to win this year and throughout the rest of the year. It'll take care of itself.
You think Vandy will have the most money in the game?
I think we'll be up there.
Yeah.
But, like, it's Nashville.
Yeah, there's a lot of big hitters around here.
Yeah.
They just need a team to believe in.
Yeah, that's all they need.
They need Diego Pavia.
He had a lot to say other than just that, as he usually does. But he also revealed that he had offers ranging from $4 to $4.5 million to play for other schools, including at least one in the SEC. He said the offers were great, but winning is more important to me than anything. So elected to stay at Vanderbilt. But it's a pretty good listen, pretty entertaining.
I'm sure it's very entertaining.
What do you think about those comments, George?
I think he needs to keep his mouth shut.
Do you think this might come back to bite him?
I don't see the purpose.
Well, in these podcasts, I mean, this is what these hosts do. They ask you questions and they want to get a rise out of you.
Billy, I'm aware. I've been in the media longer than you've been alive. Okay, I don't need a history lesson on what these are all about.
It looked like the guy that was asking the questions was like he was like, I can't believe we're going here, and I just don't know if I really believe what you're saying.
He also said they're going to win the national championship. He's going to win the Heisman Trophy this year. So you got that.
It's June.
It is.
So he says he had offers from between $4 and $4.5 million. We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, and I don't know what he's making at Vanderbilt. It's not $4.5 million. I'll tell you that. But I'm sure that those comments weren't taken well by many fan bases. College baseball today, we've got 3 games hopefully in Omaha. There was bad weather last night. It cut the UCLA LSU game short. They only got through about 2.5 innings, but they did finish it this morning. LSU got the win 9-5. Right now, Louisville is up on Oregon State 3-2 in the top of the 4th. And then tonight, supposedly at 6, if the weather holds off, Arkansas and LSU in an elimination game to see who faces LSU. And they got to beat the team that wins that game tonight is going to have to beat LSU twice.
LSU looks like they've brought about half the state with them.
Yeah, as they do. I heard that a lot of LSU fans have just moved to Omaha, that there's a ton of them that just live up there. And I don't know if y'all saw, they brought a huge Mike the Tiger, like a 13-foot tall Mardi Gras tiger, basically parade that they've brought up there. Drove them all the way up from Baton Rouge. So there's a lot of Arkansas people there too, though.
Here's one other thing they brought with them: alcohol. In mass quantities.
What are they in the Jell-O shot? I think last I checked, 17,000. I think Jell-O shots they've had. The record's like 62,000. So let's see if it's gonna be tough to break. So we'll keep you updated on those scores in college hoops. The Zakai Ziegler saga continues. He is appealing the denial of a preliminary injunction In his eligibility lawsuit, his attorneys argued he would miss out on millions of dollars in NIL money if he can't play next season. Data from Tennessee's NIL collective shows his value ranges from $2 million to $4 million. But again, doesn't look like Ziegler's got much luck.
Only time will tell. Just takes one judge.
His college career is supposedly over, though. It's supposed to be over, correct?
Yeah, I mean, 4 years typically is the end of your college career.
Yeah, so move on. Do something else.
Well, time will tell in this series, this NBA Finals series as well, if the Thunder can get it done on Thursday. They beat the Pacers 120-109 last night. Jalen Williams, 40 points. Third youngest player to score at least 40 points in a finals game, trailing only Magic Johnson and Russell Westbrook in that category. SGA, 31 and 10. Tyrese Halliburton, though, struggled big time. Only 4 points. He was 0 for 6 from the field. He was limited by a sore right calf. He will have an MRI on that. I would guess at some point either today or tomorrow. But
they need him.
Yeah, and I don't know how much it hampered him. You would guess a good bit. I mean, he was 0 for 6. But
yeah, I mean, I think we've got to believe it hampered him a pretty considerable amount. He's not normally a 4-point player.
Yeah. But Siakam had a good night. Aaron Nesmith had a pretty good night as well. Had a monster putback. But when you don't get anything from Halliburton, that's tough on the Pacer end of things.
Why did they leave T.J. McConnell out? Like, he was playing really, really well. He was getting to the basket. He was making things happen, and then all of a sudden, Rick Carlisle just takes him out and never puts him back in. I know Tyrese Halliburton is struggling. I know he was struggling last night, but the McConnell kid was playing well. Why did they leave him out for so long?
He's been incredible off the bench. I don't know the answer other than this is the way they've played it all year. And that doesn't make it right necessarily. I don't think they were going to win last night no matter what. They got within 2.
Yeah.
And that had that crowd all nervous. They stopped saying OKC for about 15 seconds. The most importantly, Kelly, the Thunder won by 11.
Oh, and it was a 9-pointer. Oh,
nice.
Yes,
it was. Yes.
So that panned out.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I don't
think you mean it, but thank you nonetheless.
He doesn't.
You don't either.
No, he doesn't. I don't either.
In the Stanley Cup final, Oilers and the Panthers tonight in Sunrise, Florida. Florida leads that series 3-2, chance to win it tonight. The Oilers have flipped back to Stuart Skinner as their starting goalie. He was pulled in games 3 and 4 in Florida and benched for backup Calvin Pickard in their Game 5 loss in Edmonton. So we'll see if Skinner has something left in the tank tonight.
So Edmonton brought virtually nothing to the table Saturday night, and they have gotten roasted up in Canada for that little effort that they put out where they got mangled. So there are a lot of people saying, okay, do they have the intestinal fortitude to fight back and win in Florida? Kelly, we will have a play on that game at the end of the show.
Do you think they have any intestinal fortitude to win in Florida, George?
Kelly, I cannot reveal that right now. Not until later.
Stay tuned.
Peace.
The Nashville Cats will play this season's playoff games at F&M Bank Arena in Clarksville. They announced the decision today at a press conference at the arena that included Jeff Fisher, CEO Bobby Dvorsky, Clarksville Mayor Joe Pitts, and Montgomery County Mayor Wes Golden. The Cats are the 2 seed in the AF1 playoffs. They will host Southwest Kansas Storm at 4:30 on Sunday in the semis. If they win, they'll advance to the championship on June 29th, which would either be on the road against Albany or in Clarksville against Salina.
So there's a Clarksville mayor and a Montgomery County mayor. That's interesting.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
But I think we knew this was coming. I think the next step is, do they play all of their regular season games in Clarksville next year? I'm sure
I would say there's at least a shot at it. Young Pogie will join us today at 4:00.
Oh, young Pogie, huh?
Yes. Pogu will be with us to share the news. Okay, we got a lot to talk with Tony Basilio about. Think about it. We got this guy that's getting paid $30,000, and who knows how or why. We've got the Zakai Ziegler story. We now have some parameters on what quarterbacks are being offered. It's completely out of control. And it looks like that the SEC schools are ramping up their NIL funding for football immensely. Got that one, Kelly? Immensely.
I do, yes.
Yes. Ohio State a year ago, apparently the highest spender at about 20 million. 20 million may be chump change this year.
Yeah, you heard about Texas? 40 million.
Yeah, whatever.
Apparently.
Hook 'em. Hook 'em horns. Okay, we'll go to the break on that, and then Tony Basilio will join us from Knoxville. This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At Wilson Bank & Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank & Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler. How convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Can't watch the race? We got you.
I can't believe it.
NASCAR lives on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Woo!
Whether it's 102.5 The Game, 94.9 The Fan, or Sports Talk 830, you can hear it all. Just check thegamenashville.com for the full schedule. NASCAR lives here. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we welcome all of you in on this Tuesday afternoon. Tony Basilio joins us from Knoxville. He's been a sports talk show host in that area forever. He tried to hide there for a second. Now he's on camera. How are you?
Guys, how y'all doing? I'm doing great.
We're good. Kelly, say hello to Tony.
Tony, how you doing, man?
Hey, Kel.
Be hospitable. So the world wants to know, what can you tell us about this guy, Grant, and I want to say this right, Frerking? Is that how you say it? Frerking?
Tennessee sold him to anybody that would listen. They were claiming, George, at one time, Tennessee brass was claiming that the guy, while he was a receiver in school, had over 200 employees in his business. I've never seen anything like this.
That's impressive. So,
since he had 0 employees. I mean,
right.
I guess it's really impressive. But, in life, right? Adam Sparks just dropped a story a second ago. I'm sure you saw it, where Paul Feinbaum's on there saying, people warned me about him, but I kept putting him on my show. There were times where I asked for Heupel and they would send me Grant Frerking. I know somebody that saw him at the NCAA tournament sitting next to the chancellor, Donde Plowman. I mean, it's crazy.
Mrs.
They propped this
Plowman.
guy up, George, and wanted to believe it so badly. And you know what's true of life since the time you were knee-high to a grasshopper? If it's too good to be true, most times in this time and space comporium, it probably is.
Okay, so he was labeled as kind of a boy wonder, smart as a whip, can be helpful in any number of ways. I'm trying to figure out how a head coach feels like he needs a 24, 23-year-old boy wonder to handle all his NIL, his transfer portal. I mean, what am I missing there?
I'm not sure what he was doing with Heupel. In that story, Feinbaum says something about Heupel thanking him for having him on a show. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I choose to think that the kid fooled some people and they just gave him a spot just to give him a spot and pay him a little money. Look, $20,000 a year or whatever it was to Tennessee in their athletic budget, that's chump change. They had to think, this guy's hardwired with On3, who does not look good in this, by the way. They hired the guy they hired the guy blindly. I mean, so this guy's got and I'm not knocking anybody that does any kind of manual labor. I'm the son of a mushroom grower, okay? Like, my dad told me, he said, you better go to work and something other than this because you're too lazy. With a straight face, like right to my face. So, and guess what? He was right. He said, you're not going to make a living with your hands, kid. He said, you're going to hurt yourself with your hands. You're not make a living with your hands. So this guy has a straw company, and Shannon Terry puts him in charge of his On3's NIL. I mean, what are we doing? George, I got a call from somebody at UT. They said, you need to put this kid on the show outside of NIL. I said, why? They said, oh, he's got a business. I said, do you know how many kids on UT's campus have like lawn care businesses in the summer? And I love them. I'm happy. You're a Greek guy. I'm an Italian. We love the hard workers. I love hard work. I love it when it's rewarded in this country. I'm not putting a guy on my show because he's got a straw company. What, are you kidding me? Yeah, but he knows. He knows what? He hadn't even lived. He's 23 years old. What do you mean he knows? No, thank you. I said, no, thank you. I never bought it. You can go ahead and put me down as one that never bought it. In fact, I always kind of looked at him very leery. They all wanted to believe. And guess what? When you want to believe, you can overlook a lot of things. You can overlook a lot of things. That guy, I was told today by somebody a second ago that knows that he's been contacting teammates. And now that this is out in the public, he's paying his teammates back or trying to. Lottie freaking Dottie, Grant Frerking. Where were you when you were ripping people off? Now you're going to pay your teammates back because you're embarrassed? Because they're going to testify against you? I mean, what in the world, Kelly? Steal from your teammates? Steal from his teammates. He sold one of his teammates tickets to the Syracuse game that he didn't have. And he did it to several of them, in fact. Same 6 tickets. I mean, what are we doing?
That's something I can't deal with, man. Somebody that does stuff like that. That's something Coach Donnelly couldn't deal with. Like, he didn't have many rules, and there were different rules, obviously, for guys that could play that couldn't. But, like, if you stole or you did something like that, it was automatic. You were gone. But, I mean, everybody just overlooks it nowadays. It's crazy.
No. And this guy's reaching out to people going, I'm gonna make it good to you. I'm gonna make it good to you, And he's tried to pay some couple guys back, I hear, but a couple people he got into for some pretty good sums of money. This thing, you know what, a guy like that's really slick though, George. He knows that a guy like Shannon Terry doesn't want that story out, so he probably really socked it to him. You know what I mean? Because Shannon Terry don't want that story out there. He wants that story to go away.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him.
Wow. So he was sort of a UT boy wonder that everybody just bought in and kumbaya and, brilliant, and none of it's true.
Like none of it.
Wow.
As in none of it.
So Billy, during the update, gave us the latest on Zakai Ziegler. His Tennessee's coaching staff basically said, look, he's not going to win this. He can do this all he wants. I mean, are they at all planning on him or hoping, or have they just said, look, privately, it's not going to happen?
They thought it was better than 50-50 last week because his counsel had made an excellent argument. And so, look, you never know what's going to happen in the courts. Tennessee still needs an off guard, they feel like. And they have about $2 million to spend. And they could take Zakai Ziegler and they could pair him with the Gillespie guy and probably have a pretty good little combination there because Gillespie's already said, yeah, I'll play with him. And sometimes I'll play off the ball. Sometimes he can play off the ball. No ego here. I like Zakai and I like Tennessee basketball. I'd like to do it with him. So, George, they still have a couple spots left. This year you can go to 15. Tennessee's left a couple of openings on their roster with the thought that if Ziegler gets eligible, maybe they can also get the coach's son eligible as well, who's there. But, I at this point, who knows? Anytime you start dealing with the courts and dealing with appeals, I knew they were planning to appeal it. And the whole reason they were planning to appeal it, George, was that they feel like the judge sort of saw their side. They know that they made a compelling argument in her courtroom, but she just basically decided to ignore a law. That's their side of it. I know enough about it to be dangerous, as you can imagine.
Go, if you want to go any farther, go. I want to hear what you think.
Well, I mean, I'm just telling you what the counsel for the kid feels like. They feel like they've got a case and they feel like they've got a shot in appeals court or they wouldn't be doing it. And so Tennessee, in terms of what Tennessee thinks, Tennessee would be, I think, wrong to just assume that it's going to get done. You never assume in court, and probably you would err on the side of this isn't going to happen. But again, they have $2 million to play with. There are still players in the portal. It's still kind of a thing. The NBA draft is going to go on, and who knows what they're going to do.
So I want to toss this one out at you. Diego Pavia was on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast today and came out with I was offered $4.5 million by some other SEC schools. A year ago, I think I'm right that Ohio State had the biggest payroll right at $20 million. I'm hearing that there are schools that are going so far past that on the SEC level in football. Are you hearing the same thing?
Oh, yeah. I think quiet schools, what schools did this year is they knew this July 1st thing was coming. Of course, it happened in mid-June. But they went hog wild and pig crazy here on these rosters right now. I mean, you're probably looking at $35-40 million payrolls in certain spots. Now, not here, but in certain spots, $35-40 million payrolls. Texas offered that Smith kid from Ohio State, who in my mind is the best player in college. He's the best player in college football by a long shot. They offered him $5 million to show you the kind of money Texas has. They care less. And so, you know what? If Nico wanted, $4 million from Miami or $4 million back in December, I can imagine somebody paying a Diego Pavia that kind of money in the right offense. I can imagine that. I really could.
Crazy. Kelly, you're a witness.
So y'all are talking about that. Like, how are they? So is that when all this stuff goes? The $20.5 million goes into effect July 1st. Is that what that is?
It's already in effect. As soon as that court case, Kelly, went final, they thought it was going to happen on July 1st. Like, they thought they'd flip a switch, but basically what happened is the House case is now the law by which they're operating under. July 1st is when the switch is going to get hit, but now you're going to have to turn everything over to this. You're in a gray period right now, but you're going to have to turn everything over to this Deloitte clearinghouse deal. And if you guys just do the math of the schools that are really chasing a national championship, let's say there are 40, with 105 signees on those rosters, you guys do the math. How many kids do you have to look at on these teams? How many deals? How big is Deloitte? And then throw basketball in there. Hey, George, there's 300 and some odd basketball teams play Division I basketball.
Right.
How many of those teams have aspirations to play in the high level? I would say half of them. So you're probably talking about 150. When you think about the conferences that would bother to pay somebody, say, over a few $1,000s to play basketball, 150. That's another, guys, close to 2,000 athletes. In the women's game, 50, maybe 60 teams. I ran a thing today on my blog. The third baseman from the Lady Vols, they offered her $25,000 to come back next year. And TCU allegedly paid her $700,000 to play women's softball. They already have a pitcher on their team that makes over $1 million. Point is, people cannot behave themselves, guys. They cannot behave themselves.
Well, that's what I'm thinking too, because I said it the other day on the show. They've got this cap for $20.5 million, but they still got the collectives going on. So this is the Wild West still. Like, in order for you to do something about this, they're going to have to do something with the collectives, and they don't seem like they're going to. No,
the real collectives they need is collective bargaining, but instead we're still going to pretend, And so we've got the $20 million, and look, do you guys really think that in the SEC that when a football coach goes out on the recruiting trail and a 5-star prospect's in his midst, that they're not going to do a deal with them and get them that money somehow? Do either one of you really believe that? All you got to do is tell the family, because look, the NCAA doesn't have subpoena power. So
is it
all you
fair?
do is tell the family, you claim this on your taxes. we'll get you $1 million. You hush up, we hush up. Everybody lives happily ever after. That is going to go on. In fact, it's going to go on frequently as long as we're in this iteration of college football. And we're going to get back to people calling people cheaters, which I kind of like. I mean, that has a very, it's endearing, right, George, that so-and-so cheated to get a player, you know. But then when you get a player, it was great recruiting. That was always my favorite thing about the past era. When we got him, it was because we have great recruiters. When they got him, they were damn cheaters.
So let me ask both of you this. Why were we hearing all this landmark deal with Judge Claudia Wilkin when, in fact, it's going to solve absolutely nothing?
George, the college football media, and you know this better than anybody, they want to believe so badly. That is the most naive group of ideological people that you might ever see. You talk about some Stepfords. Those are some Stepford wives, man. No offense.
Hey, Tony,
Sorry
so
about that, Kelly.
That's okay, man. Like, y'all are getting in the weeds with me with this, but have you heard anything about the Aguilar? How are they liking that kid? What's the deal? Is there some positive things going on with him? Do they like him? Do they think he can fit in their system good? What's going on with football?
They're boning him up, obviously, and he's getting a crash course. The thing I hear about him, Kelly, is that the one thing that everybody says about him is he's a really cocky guy. Extremely confident.
Yeah.
Now, that's pretty evident when you watch his film last year, because guys like him will throw the ball in traffic. They believe in themselves, but they say that's the one trait. Everybody that's kind of been around him in the short term, how he's taken to this, Kelly, we're not going to know till camp opens, are we?
Mm-mm.
I mean, I can tell you all, and really, you're not going to know till you play a game, because you're not going to know until you play a game against somebody that can play. Because last year, Tennessee thought Nico was the cat's meow the first 3 or 4 games of the year. That NC State team couldn't play dead in the Western. They were awful defensively. They were terrible. And then the other teams Tennessee played, put up kind of little resistance. It wasn't until they went to Oklahoma, that was like a month into the season, that they realized, hey, this guy looks like he's in the rough up there at Oakmont. You couldn't find him unless you put a flag in the ground.
So what are your expectations? I know we're in June. That's awesome, man. I know we're in June, but give us something on the Vols football. Like what is people saying? What are the expectations? What are your expectations? Are we going to be in the 12 like they were last year? What are your thoughts?
If Josh Heupel gets this team to a 9-3 finish, if they get near that 12 or they get to the 12, I think what would happen, like a Josh Heupel appreciation day, we ought to carry him down Gay Street in downtown Knoxville and have a parade for him and name him like coach of the century, coach of the quarter century, because it's 2025, because that'll be the best coaching job you'll ever see. How do you lose your quarterback at the end of spring? At the end of spring, you bring a guy in from the scrap heap from UCLA. If they go win 9 games and they touch like South Carolina did last year, touch that playoff conversation, that would be one tremendous job. If you're asking me, I think Tennessee probably wins 8 games this year. And that'll be that. The thing about Josh Heupel, you always know with him, is that you're going to have, because he's a damn good coach, you're going to have a pretty high floor. The question for him is, where's the ceiling? Is 10 wins your ceiling? Is, a first or a second round of the playoffs, is that your ceiling? I don't know. Only time will tell. We were talking today on my show that they're getting ready to go to this 5+11 deal. They're talking about it later this week, and they're going to adopt this 16-team format. And under that, I was saying that there are 3 teams in the SEC every year that know they're going to make a playoff under that. The 3 are Georgia, LSU, and Texas, because they have the most money and they have the proximity to the most ball players. And then everybody else will be fighting for those other 3 spots in this league. But do you guys agree with that? LSU, Georgia, and Texas. George, do you agree with that?
You're willing to put LSU over Bama.
LSU has the ball players all around them, and they got the funds. And Alabama doesn't have the billionaires, guys, in this day and age. They just don't.
No.
They don't have the cash. Look, when you're funneling a little cash under the table and Nick Saban's your coach and you're paying him a lot of money, that's one thing. But putting together a $35-40 million payroll a year, I hate to tell the Alabama fans this, but your tide might have rolled. Your tide might have rolled.
I'm kind of, I don't know, man. I got a good friend that's a big Alabama fan, but like I'm kind of with you on that because I think that's why the AD came out and was trying to get people to get into the collective because I don't think they got as many billionaires as the J.R. Ewings out in Texas or LSU or like you say, other places, man. So I think it could be a struggle for Alabama.
I mean, Tennessee has the Haslams, George. Tennessee's got several billionaires running around in their deal. I mean, Charlie Ergen owns, what's the TV sort? Not DirecTV. What's the other one? Dish Network. He's a Tennessee grad.
Send your money to Tide Pride.
Tide Pride.
Tide Pride. That's what it gets
right there.
Kelly, are you done?
I'm done.
Okay, let's get Tony's son into the picture.
It's my boy here. Hey, Billy, I need to talk to you later.
Let's do it.
Yeah, he wants to know why you haven't sent a thank you note.
Yeah, well, let's go to dinner this summer, Tony.
Hey, Billy, we're having one of my son's friends up for the weekend. You ought to come up and hang out with him. He's coming in from San Francisco. And so you gave us a good trial run at, life of the guest in the house.
Tony, is it true that your wife wanted him to take y'all out to eat, and then when he drove up in his 1979 Camry, she said, we can't do that to that young child?
I'm going to tell you something. My wife loves that young man.
Oh, God.
Loves him. And I'm going to tell you something else about Billy that you don't get on the screen there, young ladies out there. That's a good-looking young man.
What are we
good-looking young man right there.
What are we starting, a dating service?
I don't know. I'm just saying over here. I don't know what we're starting.
Can I ask you a question to Tony?
Yeah, because you're taking on water at this point.
What did you think of Diego Pavia's comments today?
I love them. I absolutely love stuff like that. We live in a day and age when everybody's afraid to say, look, I remember when Buddy Ryan was a coach of the Eagles, he said, I'm winning every conference game this year. And then afterwards, when they only won like 2 of them, he said, what did you people want me to say? I got to believe in what I'm doing. And by the way, I'm going to say it. I'm going to believe in it, and I'm going to say it. Hey, Diego Pavia saying what he said, it reminds me of when Steve Kiner said Archie who, and Tennessee got smoked by Ole Miss. But people in these parts, like George shaking his head at that, people remember that.
38-0.
Right, and Tennessee got smoked in that game. Point is this. Are people really going to be like worried about that when the game comes? No, they're not. No, they're not. So why not have a little fun in the summer? And I love that Pavia kid. I love his attitude. Matt Dixon was saying he was at the game last year. And Tennessee, had that little hiccup where they were trailing early on. And then they kind of boat race Vandy. And, into halftime. And Pavia comes out. He's got like 8 yards passing at halftime. You remember that, Billy? He comes out taunting the Tennessee fans coming out of the dugout. Or coming out of the locker room, rather. Because that's the kid's mentality. That's his mentality. And I celebrate that kid. I got no problem with it. Except he needs to keep Tennessee's name out of his mouth.
I knew that was coming. I knew it wasn't gonna stop there.
No, I like that kid. I think he's good for the game. I think he's good for sports.
You don't have any more?
Well, Tony Vitello in the baseball program. Any portal pickups of note here late?
Billy, they're going off, man. They're involved with just a ton of guys. So far, they've gotten like 7 or 8 pickups. Tony was on me last week. I get the sense that Tony, when it's all said and done, is going to get another 7 or 8. They're gonna have a roster of 35. I bet they have 12 or so portal pickups. A third of their roster will be portal kids.
Wow. See if he can ship some of his bullpen to Atlanta. For Tony, this is becoming the baseball summer of my discontent.
I'll tell you, George, a bad bullpen. But I got a great friend of mine, it's a Braves fan. There is nothing worse in Major League Baseball than a bullpen that nightly gives it up. Nothing worse than that. It's the worst thing in sports to watch.
The kid that you all used last night as the closer, is it Kirkering? Kirkering.
Yeah.
He might be a keeper.
Well, he's got wicked stuff. They've been waiting for him to come for years. He's got nasty stuff. The Phillies have been juggling like 3 different guys because they lost their closer to PEDs.
Yes.
He had to slim down in the winter, and he used some magic juice to do it.
Jerickson Profar disease.
There you go, brother. Yep.
Okay, so there's somebody out there. I don't know where, but there's somebody out there in Middle Tennessee going, man, this guy's really good. I've never heard him before. Kelly, don't laugh. How do they pick up on your stuff?
tclub.team is where you find us. I'm dropping a blog in the morning. Again, tclub.team. And George, it's always a great pleasure to be on with you. I was talking about being on your show today. And every time I say your name, I say H to the O to the F. HOF, baby.
So do you think I need to sign that way on autographs?
I would. That night we were at the Preds game when you got mobbed up there in those seats.
Paparazzi.
HOF, brother.
What Hall of Fame are we talking about, Tony?
He's in the State Radio Hall of Fame. I don't know if you knew that or not, but you need to celebrate that man's greatness. That's a trailblazer in this medium, in this state. And I do not say that lightly. That man had to get up and fight for his right to party back in the 90s. I can tell you that.
You're damn right we did. Oh, you are. You
Wow.
are.
Come on, Tony. This is getting absurd at this point. We're just wasting time.
Oh, this is beautiful. This is hilarious. Tony, we love you.
Thank you, guys.
You are terrific. Thank you.
Hey, Billy, anything I say about you on the air, on my show, I just want you to know it's all in good, clean fun, bro.
Love you, brother.
Love you guys.
Billy, has he taken a couple of shots at you?
No, it's maybe I need to go back and listen to today's show.
Yeah. You never know what might be there. Okay, after the break, we will we'll kind of okay, yeah. What came out of this that maybe surprised some people? This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2025 season. Create a summer of memories at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, and more. Tickets are on sale now.
Thought they were a championship contending team.
Here, we told you not to do this. Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's The George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, I realize we're, I don't know, 11 weeks away from the college football season starting. Week 0 is August 22nd, and the big first weekend is August 29th, right before Labor Day. I'm not sure I'm buying that LSU is now the power over Alabama, partly because Brian Kelly, when I watch him, that's not a well-coached football team. Yeah, do they have a lot of talent? Oh, yeah. They keep all those kids in Louisiana locked in that state. They get over Houston area. LSU's always had a lot of talent. Quarterback's been a question. And speaking of questions, off of year 1, do we really know what the successor to Nick Saban is or isn't?
Well, you say quarterback's been a question. Their defense was pathetic, really, the last couple of years. And leave it to Brian Kelly to just totally erase the defensive. I mean, LSU used to always have great defenses and great secondaries, DBU, but I mean, they were awful. But Nussmeier, I thought, was really a bright spot.
Mm-hmm.
And their receivers, but they couldn't stop anybody.
Mm-mm. So I'm not
sure. I'm not sure, George, I'm buying that either, though. I do buy the Texas deal because they got lots of money. Texas A&M's got lots of money. I don't know. I don't think they can get – I don't think the coach at Oklahoma I'm not sure that they can get there. I really don't. But I think about Alabama, what he talked about, because I think that's why the AD came out last year and was kind of – he wasn't in a panic, but, like, he understands the complexity and he understands the landscape of college football and how it's changing, and with money and with getting kids these money. And I think that he's a little worried about that. I really do. Now, I think Kalen DeBoer is going to be really good, and I think he got pigeonholed into a quarterback that didn't fit him, and Jalen Milroe. I just think that he got into a situation where Nick Saban played him. He played okay, but he was a different kind of athlete that Kalen DeBoer needed or wanted, and he got stuck with him. And I think you'll see something different. I think he's a pretty good recruiter. He took the University of Washington to the national championship game, or the national championship race, in that 14 playoff a couple of years ago, and got to that game. But I don't know about the Alabamas of the world. I'm certainly not sold on what Diego Pavia said, but like this stuff with money is getting crazy. And if you're putting somebody up there, it's got to be the Longhorns, because they've got it.
Hold on to the money thoughts until the 4 o'clock hour. And by the way, this segment brought to you by Hook 'em Horns. Give your money to Tide Pride.
There's a reason Nick Saban got out.
No,
he knew what was coming. But I'm kind of wondering. Say Nick.
But you're insinuating that he got out because he didn't think he could continue to get the money at Alabama that was needed.
And that's where I'm going. If Nick say he built up Texas and was just dominating through college football at Texas, is he still at Texas?
Look,
because they would be set up, and
who knows? I mean, do we truly, honestly know? We suspect he got out, Kelly, because the landscape of college athletics didn't appeal to him at all.
Oh, I think so, but I think that here's what he had leverage over. He had leverage over a kid because he could get him to the National Football League. They weren't getting paid, and he always talks about, I want to create value for a kid. Well, he's one of the greatest coaches to ever coach the game, and he brought value to those guys, and he brought value for them in the National Football League. Well, now, hey, back then everybody wanted to get to the league so they could get paid. Now they're getting paid in college. And I don't think the coaching matters anymore. I think it's all about the money aspect of it. And I think that's where he sat down with his wife and said, you know what, we can't create with this. We can't create the value that we used to do because of our coaching. Now it's predicated off money. I think that's why he stepped away from it.
I think there will be an enormous amount of pressure at A&M because A&M's sitting there going, screw you, Texas. We've got every bit as much money as you do.
They do.
But
They
in
do.
the end, A&M never knocks the door down.
No, they are.
No.
Sometimes I think they're cursed. I mean, they call them
The
Texas.
curse of Kyle Field.
Texas 8. Texas 8-4. That's what people are calling them. They can't ever get past the mediocrity. It feels like.
You know, when they played Texas a year ago, and sadly, I think I came out and A&M's going to show them who Daddy is. Well, Daddy showed them.
Yeah.
It's, you know, this year they've got to go to Texas. It feels like the A&M people are very frustrated because they're sitting there going, for every dollar you've got, we've got just as much. And yet they don't get the results with their dollars. Now, some of their dollars are going to Jimbo. God bless him.
Yeah.
And that
What do you think he is?
God bless him, dude. Do you not think Mike Elko can get them over the hump? I mean, I think he's a pretty good coach.
I don't think it's so much him. I don't know what it is, but if you think about it, for all the talk about A&M, they ever played for anything in the last 30 years?
I think there's something to be said about a program never being there. That they've never been to a playoff, they've never been to a national title, or have they been to? I don't think they've been to a national title.
Not
unless you go back to the 50s.
I'd have to go way back, but in my lifetime, the answer is no.
Yes, I think there's something to be said there. They've just never done it. And that, as a player, you know that about your program and the program you're in. It's hard to get past.
Okay, in the 4 o'clock hour, first of all, after the break, we'll begin with stat of the day. We're 0 for 1, but we'll be 1-1 at the end of this one. Right, Kelly?
Yeah, I like your positive thinking, George. That makes me think that you've maybe had an inkling or you've seen the question.
Oh no, I do not cheat.
You haven't?
No.
Okay, all right.
Look,
I don't know.
I'm on the honor code. Then Hoagie will join us for a few moments. The Cats announcing today that their playoff game Sunday will be in Clarksville. And then we're going to get knee deep into moolah, money, cakes, cabbage, however you want to call it.
J.R. Ewing wannabes.
Absolutely. It has gone insane. And yet we were supposed to believe that, you know, Judge Claudia Wilkin, who's sitting there for 3 months, you know, oh, this is the agreement, that this is landmark. No, it didn't. There's nothing about it that's landmark. Please.
She probably got sent to a back room and said, here's what you're doing, and you'd better do it.
We're a little cynical today. This is 94.9 The Fan.
Looking for your favorite sports?
How about sports? You follow sports?
We probably have it. Just log on to the information superhighway. Oh, they don't call it that anymore?
To start, press any key. Where's the any key?
Head to thegamenashville.com.
The password. We're in.
You'll find what time your game starts and what station it's on.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
That's what's up. Your sports live here.
What an age we live in.
On the Game Nashville Sports Network. Listen on the air.
So don't tell me to chill out.
On the web at thegamenashville.com.
This team has strategically put themselves back in the mix.
Watch us on YouTube or download the Game Nashville app.
You have to make those plays.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
The Iowa Cubs are in town June 17th through 22nd to challenge your Nashville Sounds. Be there for Rick Sweet Bobble Stash Night on June 18th, presented by Nobody Trashes Tennessee. Tickets at NashvilleSounds.com.
Experience the spirit of the American West at the Buffalo Bills Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming. 5 museums under one roof, each exhibit a step into another era. Located 50 miles from Yellowstone, begin your adventure at centerofthewest.org.
Do you ever feel like gambling is causing financial strain or hurting your relationships? The Gambling Clinic has been helping people change their gambling habits for over 2 decades. With physical clinics and remote online appointments, we're here to help you make informed decisions about your gambling. Visit us at thegamblingclinic.com so we can work together to help you win back your life. This project is funded by the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. Brought to you by the Tennessee Gambling Clinic, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Save big at the Electronic Express 4th of July sale with huge deals in every department. Get cooking this summer with this Traeger grill, just $4.99. Or watch your favorite movies on this LG 55-inch smart TV, only $279. At Electronic Express, the more you buy, the more you save. Shop now and save up to an additional $1,200 on all appliances. 24 months interest-free financing? We've got that too. Shop in store or at electronicexpress.com.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Time now for Stat of the Day brought by Apple Collision Centers. You can follow them. I think they've got a Twitter. Hit them up on Twitter, but you can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to their website at applecollisioncenters.com.
You asked for Stan Harrison. You are in the money.
No doubt. See if y'all are in the money with Stat of the Day. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of 4 players with a finals game of 30-plus points, 10-plus assists, 2-plus steals, and 2-plus blocks. Can you name the other 3?
Okay, Kelly, let's go with Magic Johnson as one of them.
I like that guess.
Okay. Let's go with what would you think of Larry Bird? I don't know if Larry Bird ever blocked any shots.
That's what I was thinking. Larry Bird. I'm thinking Magic, Jordan, and Larry Bird.
Hold on, Pogie's sitting there, in his car, shaking his head like we don't know what the hell we're doing. Yeah, let's bring him up there. Well,
what you got, Pogie?
What he's got?
What you got? I got whatever I have. You can get a shot for. How about Russell Westbrook?
Where would his block shots have come from?
And he was a triple-double lots.
No, I get that.
Right.
The points, the assists, the steals, I wouldn't argue with you, but the blocks? Okay, let's see what we got. I'm saying Magic and Bird are both there. Pogu is saying Russell Westbrook is there. Kelly, anybody that you want to toss into this?
I mean, other than Jordan, no. I mean,
Okay.
the first thoughts that I had were Larry Bird and Jordan, but when you said Magic, I was good with Magic.
Okay, Pogie, do you think of the names we threw out there that even one of them is on this list?
Well, I mean, how many are there? Just two?
You name
3.
the other 3.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a good guess. I mean, there were quadruple doubles in Russell Westbrook's early playoff life. But go ahead.
Let's see. Wrong. Let's get the answers.
LeBron, Jordan, and Jimmy Butler.
Wow. So only Kelly Holcomb.
Boy, Kel.
Not a boy, Kelly. It's not your first rodeo. So we got a third of it correct.
LeBron, wow, I didn't. Yeah, I would never have thought Jimmy Butler though. I just would never have. I could have sat here all day and never thought Jimmy Butler.
Okay, we officially now welcome all of you into the 4:00 hour. From our digs at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue, we send you to Pogue. Greg Pogue, in his role as a high-ranking executive.
Look at that hat.
With the Nashville Cats. Is that a free hat?
For me, yeah.
Good for you.
You know, Pokey's got it on. It's free, George. Come on now.
You can get. Okay,
Yeah,
so
no.
tell people about the announcement y'all had today in Clarksville.
Well, things had to play out. Salina, Southwest Kansas, and Albany, which ran through everything undefeated. We've had 2 single possession games with them already this year. They're the 1. They're going to host Salina the 4. We're the 2, and we've split with Southwest Kansas this year. It's going to be 4:30 Sunday afternoon at F&M Bank Arena. You were up there Saturday, George. We had 90% capacity. We had a press conference today with both mayors. I heard you talking earlier. Yeah, Rutherford County's got 2 mayors. The Murfreesboro mayor, and then that's more of a dignitary than it is the operational. But yeah, we're actually met today. We're shutting down the very front, or they are, the very front of the arena. If you know where it is, it leads up to a common area park, live music, inflatables. This is all done by the mayor. Just, hey, we're gonna throw you guys a party. And yeah, they're courting us. We could very well be up there. 50, we had 5,300 in a seat, place that's 5,700. Our partnership, Michelle Kennedy with the Predators, was there, and their marketing machine, of course, they run that building. And yeah, it's no slight on Municipal Auditorium, because we got started so late this year, but it just seems like with Fort Campbell and that city, you've got 400,000 people within 30 minutes of that arena. So we'll see. But we had a great turnout, and our tickets are they went on sale today at noon once we finalized it, and it's on a Vice, and that's probably not the best slot. We were pushing for 2 on Sunday, 4:30. Vice wanted us in prime on the East Coast for their game of the week. So here we are.
So, Pogie, if you were playing sports talk show host, is it as simple as this is the big game in Clarksville, where here right now, as opposed to when they came here, 25 years ago, the Cats didn't have nearly the competition that they have today?
Well, the Cats beat the Predators into what's now Bridgestone. The Cats beat everybody in, so they were the first. And that ownership group, I think, even if you go back even earlier, we're going to get historical here, the Sara Lee Classic really educated this market on how to corporately support these kind of things. And I think obviously with what the Titans have done, now what the Predators have done and everything. And yeah, I mean, we got Sounds, Nashville SC, we got Festival. Yeah, and it's not that we don't think it could very well work here. I mean, we had over 5,000 at our last home game in Municipal Auditorium. And we, George, we've done just very little marketing. I do believe the money we spent with you put us over the top, but I appreciate that. So,
I do.
Yeah.
Glad you brought that up, because I mean, for companies out there, if you want success, you get with us.
Oh yeah.
How long, whenever the season ends, how long will it be before you all make something official one way or the other?
Mid-July. I mean, the availabilities on these arenas are now year to 3 years out. F&M Bank, Municipal Auditorium, they have high school graduations, they got everything. And everybody wants to come to Nashville. Bridgestone Arena is also going to be, as I understand it, have a little bit of a downtime. So they're looking for some event space while Bridgestone Arena does its thing. So yeah, we've got to commit to these venues next year right now. And we've got some good partners. Don Harris, Municipal Auditorium, obviously the people, Kylie Wilkerson of at F&M Bank Arena understand. But yeah, if we're wanting buildings next year, we got to tell them right now.
So you're You're on the clock, so to speak.
Yeah, I think though F&M Bank would be a natural tenant with the partnership with Predators. I mean, in a perfect world, what do you play? 6 home games up there, 1 in Municipal Auditorium. You are up there, 5,300 suites, amenities. What a gem of a building, and it's probably being underutilized right now. And so we could become a primary tenant, of course, along with Austin P. But in their ice there, and it wouldn't surprise me one of these days I see their East Coast Hockey League team in there instead of Gwinnett, but that's another story. But I just think Clarksville, man, I mean, you're like I said, it's the 5th biggest city in the state. It's growing. You got 30,000 infantry and another 20 to 30 support. It just makes a lot of sense, and they've really, and it's pretty cool. We could be, the Cats will be successful if we play Municipal or wherever we play. This is what we had to do to get through this year, is prove our long-term viability, and I think we've showed that.
Pogie, Billy, anything you all want to throw out there before we let Pogie run?
Am I Pogie or am I Kelly?
Did I call you Pogie?
You did.
Okay. The one on the right is Pogu, and last I checked, in the middle is Kelly.
So Pogie, y'all are gonna. So if you split time, I'm just wondering. Because I've been up there to that F&M Banks facility, man. It's really nice. It's really nice. So can y'all see y'all staying up there most of the time? But where will your base of operations be? Will it always be in Nashville, or could it move to Clarksville?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because that's a good that's a $64,000 question, because do we put our team up there into that market? But we don't want to. We're not absolutely not going to turn our back on the Nashville base. I mean, historically, there's 30 years of Cats history here. So yeah, I think that's to be determined. It's also, we're required to house our players and our coaches. So yeah, we'll just sort of negotiating the best place for them right now. Right now, I do know that our players are in Airbnbs, and we have shown this new league how to do it.
Yeah.
And of course, with Jeff Fisher, we've talked 10 minutes without even mentioning Jeff's name. Expansion is on. They're right now vetting teams, and there was one came in today. By the way, there's going to be another major ownership announcement. I guess you saw the John Gruden thing. Within the next 4 or 5 days, we'll be taking on another major partner. So yeah, things are good.
So that's another thing. I got one more, George. I got one more. So that's another thing I was asking you. The Arena League seems like it comes, it goes, it comes, it goes, and I can't watch that spring league. I just don't. I think if you're going to play in the spring like you do, I think it has to be an arena deal, because I think people are so used to fall and traditional football, and when you're playing 11 on 11. But I think, have you got a niche? Has the Arena League found their niche? And you just talked about expansion. I think you could do something with the Arena League. And how are your numbers? I mean, are people interested in it at these places you're going? How is it going at this point?
Yeah. You've got Hulk Hogan, who's come in with his Rear Beer partnership, American Beer. You've got names like a Gruden, of course, Jeff Fisher. Vice Network has 40 million subscribers worldwide. I get DirecTV. I can watch. By the way, Sunday afternoon, if you get DirecTV, you can watch our game for free. Okay, and Evergreen now is a streaming platform. 20 years ago, the NFL took over Arena League and ruined it. It's been fractured ever since. So with various leagues, right now, our goal is we will become not only the premier indoor league in this country, but in the world. And I know 2028 flag football is going to be a an Olympic sport? How about 2032 indoor football be an Olympic sport?
Oh, wow.
I see you running it. The Olympic movement. Pogu for Olympics. Greg,
I can make the Jamaican bobsled team. Let's just put it that
I'm
way.
sure you'd be good at that.
Just put me on there.
Billy, do you have anything to ask?
Poggy, what would a championship mean this year?
Yeah, I mean, it would just be more of our what we had to do this year is the most important thing about this. In the public eye, it's year 2. This business model is year 1, okay? With the league and our ownership group, with Jeff, Bobby DeBorsky, and me. And so it would only add to our credibility. But the most important thing about year 2 was making sure there's a year 3. And we've done that.
Pogi, thank you for coming on, sharing the good word.
Yep.
4:30.
Sunday 4:30. Come on up.
Okay. Will do. Thank you.
All right. See you, man.
Greg Pogue joining us on the show. I'm
Did it sell out?
I'm sorry.
Did they sell out over the week?
Came close.
Good
Came
crowd,
close. Very good crowd. As he said, about 5,300. Kelly, just because I'm with you, I cannot sit there on a Saturday in late spring in the summer and get into the Birmingham Stallions. It just doesn't float my boat.
I can't either, man. I have not watched the game, George. I've tried. I just can't do it. I think the traditionalness of the fall and 11-man football and all that, I think if you're doing something in the spring, it's got to be totally different. That's why I'm intrigued about this arena stuff, because I think that's pretty cool. And that's what I said to Pogie. I said, I've seen the Arena League come and then it leaves and it comes back and leaves. But I think there's a niche out there. I think people enjoy that. And I like what they're doing at F&M Bank. I really do, because that is a beautiful facility up there. And if they can get 5,300 or 5,700 people, they may sell that thing out with this playoff game. That would be really, really cool. And for some reason, I can't watch the spring league, man. I can't. I know that guys, and I had to play one over in Europe, and that was different because I was in Europe. But when you're in America and you're used to doing things a certain way, and then you've got a spring league like that, it's like the USFL. It didn't happen. It was around for a little bit, but it didn't stay. And I don't know. That's why the Arena League, I think, is a home run if they can do it right, and they can, just like Pogie said, I didn't realize that the NFL, why would the NFL totally ruin the league? And I'm not versed on what all he was talking about, but I think that's a good niche for the Arena League. And I think when you go to these like some of these places, because I've watched it on Vice, I can't believe I'm sitting there watching Arena League, but I'd rather watch that because it's fast, it's quick, hockey's fast and quick. I can watch that as well. But if I cut it on the Birmingham Stallions and the Michigan Panthers, I cannot watch it. I watch it for like a minute, and I'm like, I got something else to do.
Oh, man, Mike DeLillo and the DC Defenders won the UFL championship.
They sure did.
Over the weekend.
Congrats to them. Okay, after the break, we're going to get knee-deep into a money conversation involving college athletics. You've heard it before, but I think you're going to hear some different stuff. And eventually, we're going to want you to weigh in as well. This is 94.9, The Fan.
Are you ready to begin? Trevecca Nazarene University. From calling to becoming.
I trained my entire life to be the best. I was one of the fastest women in the entire country. But woke politics made me swim against a man, sharing the pool and the locker room. That's not just dangerous, it's degrading. Thank God for Marsha Blackburn. No one fights harder to protect us. Marsha Blackburn will always stand for strong women because she's one of us.
I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
I trained my entire life to be the best. I was one of the fastest women in the entire country. But woke politics made me swim against a man, sharing the pool and the locker room. That's not just dangerous, it's degrading. Thank God for Marsha Blackburn. No one fights harder to protect us. Marsha Blackburn will always stand for strong women because she's one of us.
I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message.
Can't watch the race? We got you.
I can't believe it!
NASCAR lives on the Game Nashville Sports Network. Whether it's 102.5 The Game, 94.9 The Fan, or Sports Talk 830, you can hear it all. Just check theGameNashville.com for the full schedule. NASCAR lives here. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Billy, were you not supposed to give us a score on the Louisville game?
Scoreboard update from Omaha. Louisville up on Oregon State 6-3 in the top of the 8th. So looks like the Beavers down to their final 4 outs, trying to stave off elimination.
And by the way, in Bellevue, it is pouring. So there's more of it.
This is a theme for the last couple of months.
Yeah, it really has been. So we are basically 10 weeks away from week 0 of college football, where there are 4 or 5 halfway decent games. One of those is up in Bowling Green, Western Kentucky, and Sam Houston. Mm-hmm. And then obviously week number 1, Labor Day weekend, August 29th, and that whole Thursday through Monday, a lot of college football. So when I think back to when I first heard about NIL, I remember thinking to myself, okay, I know enough to know that these athletes, this is a full-time job. And you can call it whatever you want. You can use interscholastic, whatever. It's a full-time job. And one of the things that, to me, makes it a full-time job, and I happen to think this is wrong, is that they're essentially required to be on campus in the summer. I don't think that's the way it ought to be, but nobody asked me. So, you know, if they're there that long, and they ought to be paid something. So the question is, what is the something? Kelly, you ready for this?
Yeah.
So on the Power 5 level, the something that I thought was because the Power 5 schools, back when it was Power 5, had this kind of money to say to the football program, okay, each one of you is going to get $25,000 with the opportunity to make more depending on scholastic aptitude, service in the community, blah, 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 blah. All that stuff that we know full well I didn't specialize in. But what has really ended up happening is that the court systems have declared that that kind of thought process, which to me is the big answer, that's what it should have been. But the court system, in their infinite stupidity, decided to give us the whole restraint of trade. You know, that's not giving them the opportunity to earn their just due. Well, now, 3-4 years later, when you hear that these quarterbacks are getting $4.5 million, do any of those old goats on that Supreme Court look around and go, we screwed up? We let this get way out of hand.
I don't think they think about stuff like that, George. I really don't. I think they make a ruling and they move on. It's wild. And you even said 25,000. I wasn't thinking 25,000. I was thinking something less than that. But like,
I'm a generous person.
I know that's still a lot of money, and that's still $25,000 for the summer. Like, I don't know, man. I just like if they could have given, hey, if you want to give a kid $10,000 a month for your football season or whatever, that's fine. But $4.5 million, like Diego Pavia has said that he had sequestered from or gotten a deal maybe to, you know, in the SEC from another school. Like, it's amazing to me. And I just don't like, that's why I asked Tony, I don't understand what's going on with these collectives because there's no rules on that. So they're just going to be handing out money. And like Tony said, we're going to say they're cheating again because somebody's got to get involved with the cheating. You know, y'all got that quarterback. We were after him. Y'all cheated. Well, we had more collective than y'all did. So they didn't do anything with the collectives. They put a cap on all that, but they didn't do anything to collectives. And I don't. It's still the wild, wild west. And I don't know why anybody thought that this judge out in California, there was hope. But like these judges, man, I don't understand what they think. There's no common sense in some of the rulings anymore. You know.
So we had this huge buildup to it, the $20.5 million deal. But it doesn't say anything that a school can't then, you know, dip into the collective, whether it's Big Orange today or Memorial Gym Magic or Tide Pride. You know, so what was the point? I mean, surely to goodness, this woman is smarter than this. Did she not see that didn't really answer the question?
Yeah, to me, the $20.5 million revenue share, does that not just make it worse, adding more money? You know, to me, that I feel like that's going to cloud everything up at the Power 4 level, whereas maybe it helps a Group of 5 school, but I don't. This is not going to help much at all.
Kelly, I'm going to toss one at you that you're going to look at me and go, "You're nuts." I don't believe there's a Southeastern Conference school that for this football season will have an NIL of under $17 million.
I would have to say that's correct, George. Even the Vanderbilts, although I would have, like, if you don't have at least that, you have no shot, don't you think?
So how can anybody look at this model, especially these judges, and say, wait a minute, we opened up Pandora's box to the point where this is going to end in total ruin? And I realize that's a little much, but honestly, Are people not going to get tired of this?
That's what I think is going to happen. Told that to one of our interns just now. Like I think it's going to, water will meet its level eventually. Donors will get tired of it, like you've talked about, Kelly, and it's not going to sustain to this level. It can't. These players are still going to be making money, but this $40 million payroll, that's not possible every year. And at least and consistently, like Texas, there's no way that's gonna be the case 3-4 years from now. I don't believe.
My age folks, George's age folks, they don't want to hear all this. I'm just telling you right now. They feel college football, the amateurism part of it, is what made it great, and now you've taken that out of the scope of everything, and now you've made them professional athletes. And that's what the NFL, Major League Baseball, hockey, and the NFL, I mean, that's what or Major League Baseball, that's what it was for. That you know that you're going to get paid when you go because you're a professional now. But now, like, they've screwed it up so bad. It's ridiculous. It truly is. It's ridiculous. But, like, we say this, and I've said this before, but we say this and we talk about all this and how can it, but, like, people are watching it. But I just wonder, my age group and George's age group, I don't know about yours, Billy, because I think y'all's just do whatever. But, like, we just, like, it bothers me to go through the, I mean, I've been through school, and I think kids needed something, but, like, this bothers me. It really does, because now you've got people that have worked their whole lives in factories and, you know, doing police officer work and being a fireman. And, like, now you've got these little entitled kids that are coming up, and it was bad enough. But now when you've got moms and dads talking to a coach when they're recruiting and nobody says anything about school, anything about education, anything about how can you help me get into the workforce, nothing is said about that. They just want to know how much I can get paid. And it's kind of a microcosm of what's going on in our society. And I think people are going to get tired of it. But I've told y'all this before, unless they stop watching TV, it's going to be around.
Oh, I don't think they're going to, Kelly, I don't think they're going to stop watching the games. The games are where the fun is. But what a lot of people don't want is to know how the sausage is made. Yeah. What I guess I don't know is, are all these schools basically tapping nothing but their J.R. Ewing wannabes? This doesn't feel like an across the board like the old IPTAY at Clemson, where IPTAY was, I pay $10 a year. Now that's been, over 40 years ago that thing was created. But yeah. I don't get the feeling that it's rank and file so much as it is the J.R. Ewing wannabes. And when will they get tired of this?
That's going to happen at some point, don't you think? I just, like, if I'm giving money and my program is not winning, am I going to keep giving money?
I think so.
I mean, that's what it's based. That's what it's based on.
I think that's exactly where he's headed with it. So let's just say, Billy, I know this is a hilarious stretch, but let's just say that some school that I care about, I've given $5 million to for the upcoming season. The George Plaster Scholarship Fund. And let's say that school goes 3-9. Does that school really believe that I'm going to say, you know what? Man, job well done. 3-9. Hooray. Hell yeah, I'll do it again.
Wouldn't you have demands for that program?
Well, and that's another problem, is that what really is going on.
These programs are being run by donors.
Yes.
Put that one up there. That's pretty good.
The George Plaster.
Excellent. Yes. Young man, you'll be attending summer school. I heard that more than once in my long academic life.
And I'm glad that I'm not, like, Kelly, could you imagine coaching for a Power 4 Group of 5 school, right? I'm glad I don't know. I've heard things, I'm sure you have, Kelly and George, you too, these horror stories of this kid got offered a car and this much money. And I'm glad I'm not working in that, because that would get pretty old. And some of the stories you hear are just ridiculous. Like, it is, Kelly, you're right that it concerns you. And every now and then I'll hear stories. I'm like, this is really what it's come to. It's unbelievable.
I mean, would I be right a year ago that in the SEC, nobody really got past about 10 million in NIL?
Maybe a little above, maybe close to 15, but yeah, right around there, I would say.
And
UT spent the most, did they not?
Tennessee, Ole Miss, 20. I think it might be 15 to 20.
I think Ohio State
was the only one at
the
20.
Absolute highest.
Yeah, I think you probably had
20.
Ole Miss and Tennessee around 15 or so.
I don't believe, and again, I can't prove this, but every once in a while I hear things. I don't believe there will be an SEC school under 17 million this year in NIL for football alone.
I think you're right, George. Like, if you don't have that, you're not winning. You're not winning. You're not getting the kids you need. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man.
So,
I don't know. It's just it's bad times right now. But we'll see how all this plays out, because I'm worried about also too the productivity on the field. Like, is the productivity going to go down? Because now you've got all these kids that are moving, and they move every year. And we've talked about the JT Daniels deal, but like, it's hard. Like, I was in the same offense when I was at middle for 4 years, but now you've got a kid like the Aguilar kid who went out and learned a new offense at UCLA, and then they brought Nico in, and he left, and he's going to Tennessee. So now he's got all this in his – it takes time for you to be in an offense or a defense to actually learn the intricate details of what I'm supposed to do. And if you're a free agent every year, I think the productivity on the field is going to go down. I really do. I don't know how – I can't imagine what these coaches are going through right now with trying to mold a team.
Okay, Kelly, take that a little farther. You don't feel like Aguilar can have an entire offense?
There's no way. There's no way.
Okay.
You can't do it in a year.
Because you're the only one that would know this.
You cannot do it in a year. You just can't. You're going to learn, and he knows everything. But here's the deal: the experience of getting out on the field and running the offense and experiencing things where a linebacker comes, or you got to get somebody protected, or you got to throw hot. That stuff comes over time, and you can't just get it in a summer and be ready for the football season. Now, you can be prepared, but like, there's things you're going to see that's in the offense that, 2 or 3 years down the road, you think to yourself, I can remember being in Indianapolis, and I'm like, oh, that's what he's talking about. And that was a couple of years down the road, and I'd learned that my first day.
Okay.
So it's difficult, George.
So, Kelly, let me toss it in a really practical deal. Tennessee and Syracuse play neutral site, although there won't be anything neutral about Atlanta on that Saturday. Should Syracuse be sitting there going, listen, they're having to dumb this thing down because he's only had 2.5, 3 months. So we're going to send the kitchen sink because he will not be able to handle it. Is that what they're doing?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen tapes on either team, so you don't know the personnel. And if I'm a defensive coordinator, I've always said, being a quarterback, I'm going to bring pressure. I'm going to understand that if you take some hits, if the quarterback takes some hits, it's a different ball game. Al Davis said that a long time ago. You don't have to sack him, but you got to hit him. You got to make him think that y'all are there. And I haven't seen their personnel. I don't know what they can do or what they can't do. Maybe they're not good outside with manning up, and if you get the proper matchup, then you can take advantage of it. And if you bring pressure and you do get it blocked up and you get burned a couple of times, then defensive coordinators kind of go into a shell. But if it's me, and that's what I'm thinking, and been around the game, I'm going to put some pressure on him, because I don't think he knows all that he needs to know about the offense that he's running. Yes, I am going to do that.
Okay. We're going to go to the break, and then we're going to open up the phones. You've kind of heard the discussion. It's nothing new, but what maybe is new is that it's kind of out there now that this landmark settlement, it ain't landmark. It isn't changing anything other than the schools have to provide $20.5 million. Where they get the rest of it is the wild, wild west. Phone lines are open at 615-553-0933. Again, 615-553-0933. Billy, how else can they reach us?
Chat room's open on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Just swipe up on your phone if you're watching on your mobile phone or your laptop or tablet, whatever it may be. Just fire away the comments, and we'll get them over.
Okay, we'll take your phone calls and who knows what else after the break. It is pouring in Bellevue. It may be raining where you are, but kick back and relax. This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler. Okay, let's get right to the phones. It is still pouring in Bellevue. Wow. Radar looks like a lot of it. Anyway, let's start with Kevin in Nashville. Kevin, you're on 94.9 The Fan.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Except for this rain that's going on right now. It's coming down pretty hard. But I got a couple questions for you today. First, it's going to the College World Series. Coastal Carolina looks virtually unstoppable with 25 wins in a row and 14 of those wins being comeback wins. Now, do you think there's a chance that Coastal can get it done without losing in Omaha? And for that matter, like during the entire postseason?
You know, just a hunch, probably not. There's some really good teams in this field. They happen to be one of them. They may be the best one, but I don't think they're head and shoulders above some of that field. But I also will say they're really good.
I still think, I said this yesterday, I still think it's more wide open than people think. Because you look at it, Coastal will be on their third pitcher, and he's still really good. But Louisville's a dangerous team, and they'll be playing most likely. I don't think that's gone final yet. Need to check on that. But most likely be playing Coastal tomorrow. And that's not going to be an easy out for Coastal. So I still think Louisville has a little bit of a shot. And then, Arkansas still alive because they'll be playing UCLA tonight. So, most likely it's Coastal and LSU. LSU can match Coastal pitching wise. You saw what Cade Anderson did against Arkansas, and then they've got another good pitcher in Ianson as well. So it's more of a pitching World Series this year. Pitching and defense has dominated
in a huge ballpark.
Yeah.
Kevin, go ahead.
All right, and then I got a little fun question for you guys. This is a question that me and a few of my buddies were talking about as we were watching the end of the Open the other day. Now, do you think if you started at the farthest point on the green in Augusta during the Masters, you would be able to make the cut? And if that is a yes, do you think you'd be able to win the tournament?
Well, hold on a second. I'm lost on the question.
All right.
If you hit the green in regulation.
You're placed on you're starting on the farthest point on the green from the hole on each hole for 18 holes. Do you think you can win the tournament by putting before?
Yeah, you're on the green every hole.
No, you would not. You would not shoot par, Billy. I've had a buddy tell me that. He's like, he can place you at certain places, and you hit the green in regulation, and he said you can't break par. You couldn't do it. You wouldn't make the cut.
I don't think we have any clue just how hard that course was. 2 days ago now, it looked like a goat hole in certain places. It's not, aesthetically pleasing, but man, was it a test.
I'm gonna have to side with Kelly on this one.
Oh, I'm right there with him, and I'm one of them that would love to try it just to see.
Yeah,
it's a good question.
It would definitely be fun for sure to see what would happen. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for having me on.
I like the question. I really do. I think it'd be embarrassing. Jeff in Murfreesboro, welcome.
How's it going, George?
Good.
I just wanted to say, first of all, I think the biggest cost to this house settlement is these non-revenue sports. Washington State announced Monday they've got about 80 kids on scholarship, track and field. They cut them in half. They're getting rid of their field events, the shot put, the discus, hammer throw, all that stuff, the jumps, long jump, high jump, people, and they're going to focus on distance and sprints. They have some sprints and hurdle people. They said they could, if they wanted to come to school and finish their school, and they could. But that's going to be 40 athletes right there that are done. And there's already sports they've already cut since 2023. There's been about 6 or 8 schools have already cut sports. Cleveland State had to cut 3. One school in California eliminated all their varsity sports. They don't have sports anymore at all. I don't think anybody gives a rip, to be honest with you, when they cut them. It's, here's some more athletes. Let's scholarship money, more for football, more for basketball, more for baseball, whatever it may be. Of course, baseball only had 12.6 on what they got now, 35 or 40, like major leagues, I guess. And another thing, George, I want to talk about the College World Series a little bit. There's 5 games that I got box scores. 3 of them were over 3 hours. The only 2 that were short was, of course, the Murray State game yesterday was 2 hours and 31 minutes at no hitter. And LSU and Arkansas was 2 hours and 49 minutes. The longest one was Louisville and Oregon State, 3 hours and 13 minutes. So I was going to ask you a question. Last year, when it was over with, you said they had to change it. They've got to hurry up, and get quicker games, this replay and all this stuff. So are they doing a good job at it? That's what I want to ask you. And then I'll hang up and listen.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good question. And I do think that most of the public wants baseball to be quicker. It's why baseball went with the clock. You look like you got something.
I'll say this. There's too many pitching changes. These pitching coaches and head coaches, I mean, you've seen 4 or 5 different pitchers some innings this year, all throughout the college baseball season, but even in Omaha. I think if this continues, the 3.5 hour, 4 hour games, maybe there's a pitcher limit in an inning. because it gets ridiculous when and here's another pitching change. It'll take another 5 minutes to, for a commercial break, and you get to the inning. So that's something I've noticed. Just too many pitching changes once you get deep into a bullpen.
Do we have any TV ratings on any of this yet?
I haven't seen any yet.
Take a look.
Yeah.
Let's go to Cal over in Murfreesboro. Cal, is it raining there?
I'm in the basement right now. I can't rightly see or hear anything.
Okay. I'm going to take that to mean it probably is. Anyway, what's on your mind?
So I was watching the NBA Finals last night, as I think a lot of America was, and Tyrese Halliburton had an absolute nothing burger of a game after an injury to his calf, and it came out today that he's going to undergo MRIs to see how serious that is. If Tyrese Halliburton does not play next game, do you think that there is a chance in hell that the Pacers win?
It doesn't help, that's for sure. The best thing they would have going for them is the fact that they would be in Indy for Game 6. I think, first of all, Indiana's done about as good as they can do. This is a really good Oklahoma City team, but I'll tell you, Indiana's pretty damn good too. It's too bad that Halliburton got hurt because it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how well. I don't know how McConnell had a good game last night, but I don't know how well that team can do just relying on him to run the point.
Well, they may have to give him way more minutes than he's been playing, especially if it comes out that the MRI says he really can't play. Then it's McConnell, and maybe they know something about why they only play him a certain number of minutes. I don't know, but that's really what they'd have to turn to.
Yeah, and that's not something I'm too happy about if I'm a Pacers fan.
Pacer people unite. It ain't over yet. See ya.
Well, thanks.
Let's go to Frank in Smyrna. Frank, you are on 94.9 The Fan.
Good afternoon, gentlemen, from temporarily dry Smyrna. We've had several storms go through today. And then the sun came out, and I figure it's more monsoon coming any minute. I begin to wonder if before long we're going to start loading the animals 2 by 2 down here in Smyrna. We're going to have to build an ark. I mean, goodness, I don't. I don't ever remember a year where we've had this much rain. Goodness. Of course, about 2 or 3 months from now, we'll probably be thankful for this stuff, knowing how summers can be here.
We'll probably be beckoning.
You're probably right. I have a question for you, Kelly. You played in the NFL and played at a very high level in the NFL for a while. And back when you were playing in the, late 90s and early the first part of the 2000s, I guess maybe you and I are about the same age, and maybe I just don't remember, but was OTAs and the off-season program, was that a big deal back then? Because I sure don't remember seeing it on SportsCenter every night like I do now. I'm just curious, how did the off-season program and OTAs work in the 90s and early 2000s, 20, 30 years ago?
It was a little different. It wasn't as crazy as it is now, but I think with all the money that they're putting into it and all the money that they're giving players, they want to make sure that those guys stay in shape. And I can remember when I came back to town here, I was, when the season was over, I'd come back and we didn't start till March. And I couldn't wait to get back when I was young in my career. I just had a child, but I couldn't wait to get back because I felt like I was gone too long. And then when my kids started growing up, then I stayed in the city that I was playing in because my kids went to school there. So I just went, I would go over there. And I think it's something that in today's professional sports that if you're going to be good, you have to put time in, and I think you have to do it year round. I told my son that when he was home not too long ago. I said, because he was talking about his shoulder, his arm hurting a little bit, and I said, that's why I never stopped throwing, because I didn't want to feel the soreness. I didn't want to do it. So I just always threw. I'd take a few weeks off, but then I was back at it again. So it was a little bit more lax when I was playing. I think the media and 24-hour information now has made it even more than it actually is. But yeah, it is a little bit different nowadays than it was when I was playing.
It gives ESPN an excuse to waste all that time in Sports Center.
Correct.
Yeah, ESPN, anyway, that's another topic for another day. Kelly, thank you. I've always wondered about that, just never have asked the question. So I appreciate you answering that. Thank you.
All right, Frank. Thanks, buddy.
Okay. My apologies to Casey because I don't think we're going to get to him. I can hear up here. It is absolutely a monsoon for the moment. Plaster bet of the day, an opportunity to give you money. Kelly, free money.
He has a little winning streak, Billy, and he's back on it again.
Oh, yeah.
This guy can't have much success, man. If you give him some success, his head goes through the roof.
7 of our last 9 have been wins. Can we extend the good streak? We'll find out next.
Looking for your favorite sports?
How about sports? You follow sports?
We probably have it. Just log on to the Information Superhighway. They don't call it that anymore?
To start, press any key. Where's the any key?
Head to theGameNashville.com.
The password, we're in.
You'll find what time your game starts and what station it's on.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
That's what's up. Your sports live here.
What an age we live in.
On the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Save big at the Electronic Express 4th of July sale with huge deals in every department. Get cooking this summer with this Traeger grill, just $4.99. Or watch your favorite movies on this LG 55-inch smart TV, only $279. At Electronic Express, the more you buy, the more you save. Shop now and save up to an additional $1,200 on all appliances. 24 months interest-free financing? We've got that too. Shop in store or at electronicexpress.com.
Duck River Raceway Park is turning up the heat this summer. June 21st, weekly racing continues with 365 super late models. Then celebrate freedom with horsepower July 3rd through 6th during the Independence Day special, including open practice, $1,500 to win super late models, and the 5K to win Summer Nationals. Get in on the dirt slinging action where the South comes to race. Duck River Raceway Park.
Make your Yellowstone area vacation unforgettable at the Buffalo Bills Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming. 5 family-friendly museums packed with wildlife, art, culture, and authentic Western experiences. Plan your adventure now at centerofthewest.org.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Final segment on a Tuesday, Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight in Florida. Oilers with a chance to tie the series. We'll see what happens, and we'll see what happens with Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. We take a look first at what happened last night. Another win with OKC.
Oh, yeah, we're getting there.
Covered the 9.
So, Kelly, we have 2 plays tonight. The first one is Game 6 in the NHL Stanley Cup. I'm taking Florida at home to end the series. I don't get how Edmonton could have come out with that pitiful effort at home Saturday night with that crowd out of Canada so behind them. They just laid a big old egg. They don't deserve to win this thing. Florida, there are times where you doubt Florida, but you know what? They'll be there tonight. They won't give that kind of effort. Florida to win the Stanley Cup tonight.
Okay.
And we have one baseball game to go with it, Kelly. Tampa Bay at home good pitching matchup. I think it's an advantage for Tampa Bay at home in Steinbrenner Field against the Baltimore Orioles. Tomorrow, Mike Organ will join us during the 3 o'clock hour, and then we will go out to Seattle, where they're starting to get excited that there may be a new brand of Seattle Supersonics just down the road. This is 94.9, The Fan.